Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for our commercial auto physical damage. My name is Alex Zardaneta. I'm the Vice President of Underwriting for Brookside General Insurance Services. I'm glad everybody's joined us. We will show you how easy it is to get a auto physical damage premium indication instantly. Vanessa will be joining us she's the Director in Customer Development with Appulate. She will be helping us do this webinar together. Just to give everyone a little information up front, all attendees will be muted. We will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. Basically, you can type in your questions in the GTM side panel, and the webinar will be recorded for future reference. So if someone in your office was unable to attend the webinar, you can share the link with them as well. Let's get started. We're going to give you a little bit of information about Brookside General Insurance Services. Many of you know who we are, many of you don't. We are committed to provide quality service, and we're tops in our industry, and we've dedicated to build long-lasting relationships with our business partners. We're very professional, knowledgeable, and we have friendly underwriters with over 100 years of combined experience. By using Appulate, we are going to be able to turn around your quotes quickly. Moreover, we understand the industry and we understand what it takes to become partners. The quality is what characterizes us and makes us leaders within the market. We have friendly staff, and professionalism makes the insurance placing process a great experience. Our specialty, Brookside General, is the industry-leading managing general agency that specializes in transportation. We focus on commercial auto liability, auto physical damage, motor truck cargo, non-trucking liability, property, general liability, umbrella excess liability, garage keepers, workers' compensation, flood, and residential earthquake in California, Arizona, and Texas. We will be going into other states as well. Why we partnered with Appulate? Everybody's asking us this question, and we're really excited to announce our partnership with Appulate because we want to make our trucking programs available to you by using Appulate. By using Appulate, you'll be able to easily complete a few questions in order to receive a real-time rate and premium indication of trucking risk right within Appulate itself. Currently, the available programs in Appulate is monoline auto physical damage, which is now available in California. We have other programs coming up within the year, such as commercial auto liability, motor truck cargo, non-trucking liability, general liability, umbrella excess liability, which will be coming soon. Most of these programs will be available in California, Arizona, and Texas, but as I mentioned before, we have additional states will follow. Instant premium indication. By using Appulate, you'll be able to complete a few questions in order to receive a real-time premium indication. By working with Appulate, we're able to bring automated programs to nearly 30,000 independent agencies using Appulate nationwide. To access these programs, all you need is simply to have an Appulate account. This is offered free of charge and can be set up within 5 minutes. Once you have an account, you'll be able to bridge the data from your agency, your management system, to complete the Brookside online application rater. E-appointments. This is very important. You do not have to be appointed with Brookside General Services to obtain a premium indication or a quote. During the binding process, before you attempt to bind an account, you will then be prompted to get an appointment. But that's it. No appointment will be necessary to get a premium indication or quote. And I'll pass this on to Vanessa for her to tell you a little bit about Appulate.
Wonderful, Alex. Well, thanks so much for that introduction, and thank you all so much for joining us today. As Alex mentioned earlier, my name is Vanessa Dulier-Kamara. I'm the Director of Customer Development here at Appulate, and I'm going to tell you first a little bit about Appulate, just to give you a quick update before we get into our live demonstration here in just a few minutes. As you've probably already noticed, I'm battling a little bit of a cold, so please excuse my voice. All right, so Appulate continues to grow rapidly. We now have over 80% of all independent agents represented in Appulate and hundreds of markets. making Appulate the place where agents, MGAs, and carriers do business digitally. In January of this year, we actually broke an Appulate record of submissions processed through Appulate in 1 month. And we continue to stay committed to you, the agent, by expanding your markets, automating your workflow, and saving you time and money. So expanding your markets and automating your workflow are really going to be the standouts on today's webinar, since you are, of course, being introduced to Brookside, a new market in Appulate, and you will see the automation behind that in the demonstration here in just a few minutes. But I wanted to take just a moment on the point of saving you time and money. So based on a recent survey we conducted on retail agents, agents are averaging about 40 submissions per month, and agents reported an average savings of about 37 minutes per submission using Appulate. That translates to an average of close to 1,500 minutes or over 24 hours saved per month with Appulate. And now, of course, we all know that if we can save time, we can save dollars. So let me give you those numbers. An average savings per agent is $593 per agent per month, or over $7,000 per year, which you can save by using Appulate to automate your process. All right, so without further ado, let's take a live look into how you can start using Appulate today to submit to Brookside General for commercial auto physical damage. I'll also take you through setup. Now, as Alex mentioned earlier, as you have questions, please type them in the GoToMeeting side panel in the questions section as you have them, so that you won't forget them, and we'll make sure to get to those during our Q&A session at the end. All right, so to get started, you can go to Appulate.com sign-in page. Go ahead and enter in your credentials. If you don't recall what your credentials are, you can click on the Forgot Password link. Everyone that was invited to this webinar today already has credentials. So just if you don't have them, go ahead and click on this link to reset them. If this email was forwarded to you, if you go through the password reset process and you find out in fact that you do not have Appulate credentials yet, you can of course always click on the Sign Up Now link here, and it'll take just a few minutes to create your free, of course, Appulate account. So more on that later during setup. Let's go ahead for now and sign in. So this very first page that it takes you to is the insured, all insured page. And at the top left here, there's this Add New Customer or Prospect button, which you'll want to click on to get started. Now, for those of you that are familiar with Appulate, yes, uplink works. So if you already have an ACORD form filled out in your agency management system or an ACORD PDF, you can certainly start there by appulating it and uploading the information from that ACORD into Appulate so that you don't have to rekey it. But for the purposes of today's demonstration, I'm going to click on this Add New Customer Prospect button, and I'm going to start within Appulate by manually inputting this information. So it's asking us here for the insured on this first page. That's the only required field. So at this point, I could click the Continue button to move on to the next page. And here it wants me to choose the line of business. And as we discussed, this is for business auto. That's what you'll want to select here is the insurance line product, automobile business, business auto. It's going to populate an effective and expiration date, which you can make edits to. And then go ahead and click on the Continue button. So here on this next screen, you're in what we call our Q&A section. You have the insured that you created. You have the line of business and the effective date listed up here. And then you have a place to go ahead and add Brookside as the market that you want to work on for this particular insured file in this particular line of business. So we'll click the plus sign and we're going to look for Brookside. We're going to select them and they will pop up here along with all of their required questions. So to the right-hand side of the Brookside name, we have our letter indication, which will help guide you through the submission process. So this is going to tell you all of the questions that are missing and required down below that you'll have to complete before you're able to click on the Submit button. So currently the Submit button is in orange. You cannot click on it until you fulfill the requirements. Now, you can fulfill the requirements by using the live links here, or you can go through this section by section as I'm going to do and answer the appropriate question that has a red asterisk next to it. Now, for this first question, there's some more information that we want to give you here. So that it's, does this insured need any additional coverage not currently in Appulate? So for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to click on no and keep moving on. But I want to show you an example of how Appulate's Smart Questionnaire is dynamic. So based on how you answer certain questions, more questions may appear or questions may be eliminated. So like I said, I'm going to click on no and I'm going to keep plugging away here, but Alex has a few more things to share with you about that.
Just wanted to give everyone a little heads up regarding additional coverages. If here you're going to get a premium indication for auto physical damage. If you want us to consider the auto liability or motor truck cargo or general liability or any other additional coverage, click on the yes box, click on the coverages you want, and then also click on the limits you're requesting. What that's going to do at the end, when you submit this to us, it's going to scrape that data into a quick quote form, which then we'll be able to receive it. When you request a formal quote from us for the auto physical damage, we will give you a quote through the Appulate system. But since the other coverages are not in the Appulate system, we will give you a quote separately. You will receive that quote within that same day. So depending upon the day, if you sent it in around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you probably won't get a response until the next day. But our turnaround will be that same day. So if you sent in a request in the morning, by the end of the day, you will get a formal quote or a response saying that we need additional information. This is a way just to expedite the process for everyone. Just remember as well, go to those live links. If you notice on the top where it says underwriting 2, there's 2 questions in that underwriting section that are missing. If you can't, rather than going looking for them, if you put your cursor over the U and look at the live links, it will click on the live link and it'll take you to that section saying that you need to complete the missing information. We've tried to make this very simple for people to use. Also, if you have any suggestions as you're working through the system, please inform myself. My email address is alex@brooksidegeneral.com. We will take any suggestions or advice. This is our first product out, and we want to make this an easy process for everyone in order to get premium indications. It looks like Vanessa's almost done.
Yes, thank you so much for that information, Alex. So as Alex was giving you more information, I was able to plug in the last of the missing and required questions. So I plugged all of those in. Anything that had a red asterisk next to it, I made sure to type in. Now, you still may notice, well, I still don't have a submit button that I can click on. That's correct. There is still one additional step. But before we get into that, I want to point out that you now have an instant estimated premium. So Alex is going to say a few words about this estimated premium before we continue on.
The estimated premium is going to give you an idea if we can compete with your current markets that you have access to. The great part about it is if we can't compete, there's no reason to submit an application to us with the MVR requesting terms. You don't have to wait another day. You immediately know that we can't compete. However, if we can compete and you do want a formal quote, because we have a very good chance of getting this account, please answer the additional questions after you upload the MVR and submit it, and then we'll be able to give you a formal quote on this instantly.
Thank you, Alex. So, thank you. So to that point, you have your instant estimated premium. If you would like to move forward, there's one additional step before submitting, and that's to upload the MVR. So all you have to do is navigate to the Docs tab, which you'll see has a red asterisk in it as well. Go to the Docs tab, and you can drag and drop the MVR or click on Select to browse your computer. So wherever you have that stored, that's where you want to navigate to, and make sure that you get that MVR within Appulate. This is important to make sure that you choose the proper type from the list. This will satisfy the requirements so that you can move on. So we've uploaded the MVR, we've assigned it as an MVR, and we're going to navigate back into Appulate, and you're going to see that you now have a green U and a green submit button. So you are ready to go ahead and click the submit button to move forward. Now, before you do, I just wanted to point out that there's a few additional tabs that you may want to access. For example, the loss runs tab. If you would like to attach loss runs to be included as part of your submission, you can go to the loss runs tab at any time and drag and drop the documents or input the insurance history information, and then there will be a link there where you can attach those documents just as we did with the MVR. Any additional documents can be attached in the Docs tab in the same way. And there's also a Notes tab. So if you wanted to include with your submission some notes for the Brookside team to review, you can plug them in here under Shared. Once you click Add, it will be logged here, and the Brookside team will be able to review these notes with your submission. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and click on the Submit button here, and you'll see that the status has changed accordingly to say Submitted. Now, Alex will talk to you a little bit about turnaround time, and he's also going to upload a quote and release it for us in the background so that we can show you the next steps. Alex?
Yes, when you get the Submit button, you're going to see, when you hit it, we're going to get an email instantly to our Outlook, basically telling us that we have now a submission received from one of our retailers. We're going to click the link, and it's automatically going to take us to the submission that you've entered in the Appulate system. We are then going to review it, and then we are going to send it right on back with a formal quote, just like I did now. And as a matter of fact, Vanessa should have a clearance on this now that I've approved this risk and provided a quote.
Wonderful, and I do see that, Alex, so thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Our response time will be that same day. Like I said, if you send it in at 4 o'clock, it may be first thing in the morning, but in most cases, you will receive a response within the same day.
Very good. Thank you, Alex, for that information. So as you can see here, Alex has gone ahead and uploaded and released the quote to me. So I now have it available here for review. You do not have to keep logging into Appulate to view this. You will receive email notification. The email will contain a link that will take you right back to this insured file. When you come back into Appulate, into this insured file, you will see the proposal or the quote just below. So go ahead, if it's hidden, just FYI, just click this little drop-down menu and it will expand the view so that you can see it. So go ahead and click on it to open it up and review. It'll open it up in a PDF. Take a look at that and make sure that it's what you would like to see in here. And then navigate back into Appulate, and you have a place to share this with your insured right from within Appulate. This little envelope icon on the right-hand side, which, by the way, if you hover over any of the icons in Appulate, it will give you, it will let you know what it stands for. So this little envelope icon, it says send by email. If you click on that, it's going to give you a pop-up where you can type in the insured's email address so that you can share it with them. The quote is already automatically uploaded, and it puts together a signature for you at the bottom, which is editable, so you can shoot that right over to them. Now, if you would like to continue on and request to bind, there's additional steps here that you need to complete, which we'll go over in just a second. If your insured declines it, you could go ahead and change the status here accordingly. So you just click the drop-down menu of the status, and then you can go ahead and indicate what the decline reason is. Now, if you would like to move forward and request to bind, there are additional questions that pop up at this time, which Brookside will need in order to bind. So same process here as the beginning, hover over the letter indication, and it's going to guide you through this request to bind process through answering the rest of the missing and required questions, which have a red asterisk next to them and are indicated by this little letter indication here. Now, don't worry, I won't have you sit here and watch me type my screen. I actually have one prepared for you. So I'm going to go back in here to a different insured file where I've already gone through, I've gotten the quote, and I've answered all of the additional questions that were required of me so that I can continue on with the request to bind process. Okay, so I fulfilled the requirements. I've answered the rest of those questions. And I can go to this request to bind button on the right-hand side under action, this little hand with the exclamation mark. Now, if I am not yet appointed with Brookside, as Alex mentioned earlier, the beauty behind this is that you can get an instant premium indication and even a quote without getting appointed. Should you wish to move forward at this time, it will take you through the automated appointment process, which I'll show you in just a second. If you already are appointed with Brookside, it's smart enough to bypass this step, so don't worry about that. So let's take you through just very quickly here what it would look like if you're not yet appointed. You would click on that button. It says, okay, our records indicate you are not appointed. Click on the button so that you can go through this process, which is all automated for you in Appulate. You'll have a list here of required documents. You'll need to scroll down to the bottom and drag and drop those files, or click on select to browse your computer and attach those. So be sure to attach all of these documents that Brookside is requesting. When you click the select button and choose the appropriate document, again, be sure to choose the right type from the drop-down menu so that it satisfies that requirement. I've gone ahead and prepared this for you so that you don't have to watch me go through that either. I went ahead and attached all of the necessary documents, and the other step here is to electronically sign the appointment agreement, which I've already taken care of. It just takes you through the electronic signature process. So you sign the appointment agreement, you upload all of the documents, and then you click on Request Appointment. At this time, it says you're pending, the status changes to say pending request, and this triggers a notification to the Brookside team. So they will go in there, they will review the documents, make sure that they have everything that they need. They will also countersign the appointment agreement. And once you become appointed, same process as before. You don't have to keep logging into Appulate to view that. You will receive email notification letting you know that you are now appointed. And this is important. Then you'll want to go back into Appulate and continue on, with your request to bind steps. So I believe Alex is working on getting me appointed here in the background so that we can keep moving forward. Alex, let me know when that's ready.
I just appointed you.
Okay, wonderful. So as I navigate back in here, very good. I am now appointed, and now I can click on Request to Bind. So if I were to go back here and I wasn't appointed, it would remind me again that I have to go through that appointment process, and it would take me back to that other screen, and it would say that I have, things to do, or it would say that I have a pending request. But since I am now appointed, when I navigate back into this record, I now have a Request to Bind button that I can click on, which will take me to my next step. So the last step in order to bind is to sign the quote document and sign the Sutter commercial vehicle application form by both the agent and the applicant. And this is done using electronic signature, so you simply click on Open Signing Tool and it will take you or your insured through the process where you just have to type in your name and it creates a legally binding signature for you. So follow the prompts there. Once that is completed, you will have 2 check marks here. It will show up in green, and then you'll be able to click on the Proceed button, and that will be your final step, and the status will change at that point to say Requested to Bind. Once it has been bound, you will receive email notification, and the status will change accordingly, and the quoting functionality will be hidden. You'll just see information relevant to the bound policy that's showing up on your screen. Okay, so that is an overview of how you can start an Appulate or bridge over an Accord form with existing data, choose Brookside as your market, fulfill their requirements, just a few questions in order to get that instant estimated premium. Once you receive that, you can continue on with the process to get a formal quote. Once you get a formal quote, which as Alex mentioned is a quick turnaround time, then you can proceed with getting appointed if you aren't yet at that time and going through the Request to Bind process. All right, so at this point, I would like to take it into our Q&A section. So I want to go ahead and answer questions from the audience. I see some already trickling in here, so we'll go ahead and take those. In fact, as I answer questions, I'm actually going to leave it on the screen here so that if any of you want to jot down Alex or Rudy's contact information as we go through this, you have some time to do that. So at this point, if you have any questions, again, please type them in the GoToMeeting side panel, and we will do our best to answer those on the call today. The first question here for you, Alex, is do you have an appetite for new ventures?
Yes, we do. They will accept Sutter. This will be on Sutter Insurance Company paper. They're admitted, and they will accept a new venture. The insured does not have to have any prior coverage.
Okay, very good. The follow-up to that was that this person has a client who has bobtail trucks less than 26,000.
Yes, we would definitely be able to help you with that as well. There's different selections for different types of vehicles that are on the list of types of vehicles where you want, so that you can have extra heavy truck and tractors, extra or heavy trucks, but you can just go down to the select part.
Thank you, Alex. The next question for you is, does Brookside handle all of the filings automatically after it is bound?
Yes, we do. We will take care of the filings that you've requested immediately once we get it bound. It's all through the same process. So when we bind an account, we go through the filing process as well.
Next question here is, do all drivers have a minimum number of years with a A-class driver's license?
They have to have a minimum of 2 years having a Class A license to fulfill Sutter Insurance underwriting requirements.
Next question for you, Alex, is, are loss runs required to obtain a quote for auto physical damage?
No, loss runs are not required for auto physical damage.
Do you accept a new driving license?
No, they have to have at least 2 years of minimum of Class A license to fit this program.
Is Sutter the only PD company you offer?
No, Sutter's just the first product that we've put with Appulate. We also have a Lloyd's facility that will can do the same thing for the little tougher stuff, and we also have Topo will consider it on a package basis. But what we find that Sutter is very competitive in the auto physical damage arena.
Next question, do all drivers need a California license?
Yes, if they're only for California only. But if the insured is a long haul operation, they can have other out-of-state license, but the owner must have a California license themselves.
Next question here, when will the auto liability section be available?
That's within the next 4 to 6 months. We're trying to get it packaged. This was our first project. Brookside General is Appulate's first transportation product that they have. So there was a learning curve here, but we do anticipate that happening. We're starting the process now, but it does take some time. So please bear with us, and we will announce when it is available. As each product goes live with Appulate, we will send an email blast to everyone.
Do you have an auto product for anything other than trucking?
Yes, we do have a business auto program as well that we can help you with for your small contractor vehicles and things, so the smaller vehicles that a trucking program would not hold.
What is the minimum driver's age that will be accepted?
We prefer, for the auto physical damage, there is not a minimum age, as long as they have the 2 years of Class A license. But we prefer drivers with between 25 to 70 years old. It just helps, for one, it controls the loss ratio, and it gives your insured a better price.
Okay, if the driver is located in Washington, does this apply for a policy?
If the driver is located in Washington, this is only for California risk only. The vehicle must be registered in California to qualify. Like I said previously, if it's a long haul operations that's based out of California and there's other out-of-state license, that is fine as long as the owner has a California license. This product with Brookside or Sutter Insurance Company for auto physical damage is for California operations only that can do local, intermediate, or long haul, but they have to be based in California.
There's a couple of questions here that I'll consolidate about drivers outside of the country.
Once again, as long as if it's long haul, the owner has to have a California license. So there can be other licenses as well that would suffice.
Do you have to pay to use the Appulate program? That's a great question, and I'll take that one. To use it for Brookside or any of our other partnered markets, it is absolutely free to use. Appulate does have additional features which are included in a premium license. If you are interested in more information on that, you can contact agency sales at appulate.com. Agency sales at appulate.com. Let's see a few other questions. Will this be offered in Washington in the near future?
Washington is a state that we're getting a lot of requests from. So basically what we're doing is when we announced our presence with Appulate, in partnership with Appulate, we are taking the data we're receiving because we're getting many requests from other states than the California, Arizona, and Texas. So the more states that we get requests from, or those are the states that we're going to be focusing on, not only getting licensed there, but getting our markets, new markets, or extend our contracts within those states as well.
Do the non-truckers' risks also need to be input online?
Yes, if you have a non-trucking risk, we would prefer you to go through the Appulate system and upload, sending your submissions that way, because first of all, it will send us an email immediately. Rather than going through the submissions at brooksidegeneral.com, where somebody has to get it, log it in, create the files. It is about a 30-minute process for each submission that we get by the time it gets to the underwriter, because we also we do Google Satellite, we do an OFAC, which is required by our London markets, and we also pull the CAB report. So this way the underwriter has all the information. But if you send it through the Appulate system, it gets to the underwriter immediately, just by with an email they'll receive. So yes, we would recommend you send your submissions through the Appulate platform, but it's not a mandatory.
Next question, do they need a garaging address?
Yes, garaging addresses are very important because we do, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, we do a satellite Google search. So we want to make sure that the garaging address is a correct garaging address. As you know, these truckers cannot be parking in an apartment complex or in someone's home, their driveway in their home. So please make sure that there is a legit garaging address where a truck can be parked overnight.
Okay, quite a few questions here still. Let me navigate through some of these. Does it collect the insured signature electronically when we email the documents from the link? Yes. If you follow the prompts within Appulate for the request to bind, it will have you and the insured electronically sign it. It is all done electronically. It is all logged in the Appulate system and automatically loaded. If the physical damage indication is not competitive, but we still want quotes for other coverages, can we and how do we send the request?
You could still send the request the same way, but in the notes section where you want to share a note, please indicate you do not need a physical damage quote as we're not competitive. However, we would like quotes on the other coverages that you selected. So you still go through the same process, just put a note into the system, the Appulate system where Vanessa showed you previously.
If the owner of the vehicle required to have CDL in California?
No, if the owner does not have a Class A license, that is fine, but there has to be someone else. If he hired a driver that has a Class A license with a minimum of 2 years, that's sufficient. However, we will still need the owner's MVR to confirm that the owner does not have a Class A license. If the owner has a Class A license, we cannot exclude him. So his MVR is his MVR. So if he has accidents and you're trying to exclude him because of his MVR activity, as long as he has a Class A license, we cannot exclude him or her.
Okay, for those who do not do technology, can we print and collect wet signatures? From the Appulate standpoint, it would break the request to bind process. It's all automated in the system so that you could just continue on with the steps Alex, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that.
No, you could still do the thing. There is a workaround on this regarding electronic signatures. You can still submit it, but once again, put a note so then we can change the status to a binary class.
Are the auto liability and cargo submissions still being emailed?
As mentioned before, you can submit your other coverages or any kind of submissions you have through the Appulate platform, which will get a quicker response. But we're not forcing you at this moment to go through the Appulate system. If you still want to submit your business, go into submissions@brooksidegeneral.com, you may. However, the response time will be a little bit longer than if you went through the Appulate system. So if you do have other submissions that do not fit the Appulate platform with the auto physical damage, we would encourage you to submit the business through the Appulate platform, which will make it a lot faster for you.
When can we get a monoline cargo quote?
That is we have two more current products working. We're testing that right now. It's a monoline auto physical damage with Lloyd and motor truck cargo monoline with Lloyd's as well. So those two products are the next ones in line to be released shortly.
If the client is looking for a quote only and we don't want to pay for the MVR, can we submit without MVR?
No, the MVR is critical. We must have an MVR to confirm the information on there. Unfortunately, we do not have the ability to run MVRs. We're not like a direct carrier that you would be able to get with a Progressive where Progressive runs the MVR for you. We are a managing general agency, so we are not the carrier. So we do need MVRs.
If we submit online for auto liability, will it be same-day turnaround time?
Yes, that's the key there. Unless we have to submit it to the carrier for approval, you will get a response that same day. That's why we encourage everyone to use the Appulate platform to submit business.
Can you quote with binational drivers?
For, once again, if this is for long haul, as long as the owner has a California license and has a Class A license, and has a minimum of 2 years, the other drivers can have other licenses besides California.
For new ventures, would you accept high amount vehicle like a $180,000 truck?
This will not fit with the Sutter auto physical damage program. This would have to be submitted to one of our other markets. As you go into the when you're answering the questions and putting the limits, the system will tell you whether it qualifies or not. So if you entered for an auto physical damage and you put $200,000, there will be U will now change into a D, which tell you decline. And if you put your cursor over the life link, it will tell you exactly why it's being declined. And it will tell you whether because the limit's too high or the driver doesn't have enough experience with a Class A license.
Okay, very good. There's a couple of questions here about missing part of the webinar. This webinar has been recorded and will be posted to our YouTube page, Appulate Inc., as well as the help section within Appulate by the end of the day today. Alex will also have a copy of that, so if you reach out to Alex for additional information and would also like the link, he will also have that by the end of the day, so you can rewatch parts that you may have missed.
And we will be putting this on our Brookside General website as well.
Wonderful. Now, there's quite a few questions still trickling in. I want to go ahead and send those over to Alex so that he can spend some one-on-one time addressing those with you. This is now the end of our Q&A session. If you have not gotten a chance to write down Alex or Rudy's contact information, please do so. I know that they're eager to connect with you and answer all of your questions. On behalf of the entire Appulate team, I'd like to thank you all for joining today, and I'm going to toss this back over to Alex for some closing words.
I want to thank everyone as well for your time. I mean, we know everybody's time is valuable, and that's the reason why we're trying to put all our trucking programs on the Appulate systems so you can give your insureds the service that they deserve and that you want to provide them. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call at 209-476-8022, extension 103, or be happy to call any one of our other underwriters that are available to answer questions. All questions do not have to go through me only, but we have other underwriters out there, so you can ask the reception. If I'm not available, hit 0 and ask the receptionist to transfer you to another underwriter who will be able to help you with the Appulate systems or any underwriting questions you may have.
Thank you all. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.